book haul at the Bordentown Pulp Adventurecon show that was held on Saturday, November 2nd, 2019 in Bordentown, New Jersey. I'm Gary Levisi, and this is a haul of some of the books that I bought at the show, and I just want to show them to you. We did 3 videos of the show showing that myself touring the show and introducing some of the dealers and some of the people, and also did an interview with Tom Lesser about who came out for that show, and he talked about his show in California. And now now that the show is over, I want to just show you some of the books that I got. So without further ado, I'm going to take this box and take a seat and go through a few things. Adventure, with a Robert Lesser cover art. Adventure was a pulp, very collectible pulp in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and I believe in the 50s. And in the 70s, this is the February 71 issue. It became a digest magazine. It's interesting that it was edited by Carson Bingham, who was actually Bruce Cassidy. And Bruce Cassidy was a writer who wrote under Carson Bingham. He wrote some Flash Gordon paperbacks for Avon. And so he's here under his pseudonym. There may be other names here that he used. I know Max Day is also a pseudonym for Carson Bingham and Bruce Cassidy. So he may have even wrote the whole thing here. So it's an interesting magazine. Nobody Lives Forever, W.R. Burnett, Armed Service Edition, number 017. But just a few things just to go through. The Pink Umbrella Murder by Francis Crane, Popular Library. Very cool one here, science fiction. Donovan's Brain by Kurt Soidmak, Bantam Books. Poor Fool, Erskine Caldwell. This is a adventure novel. A novel book. Because there are 3-book series, I believe, and it's a boxing story, of course. Sins of Our Cities by Gray Gordon is a Monarch MB 525 Human Behavior series. They did books about social issues of the time, and this is The Man from Stud, the Planned Parenthood caper by F.W. Paul. It's number 7 in that series. It's a collectible, kind of a sleazy, risque spy crime series. The interesting thing about this one is that the cover model here is actually the artist Frank Frazetta. Murder in the Mews by Helen Riley, classic murder mystery. Nothing More Than Murder, Dell number 738 by Jim Thompson, classic hard-boiled crime. Lady from Lust, Belmont Tower book by Rod Gray, which was Gardner Fox. This is a series that we did an extensive detailed article on in Paperback Parade. The Single Girl by Dr. Walter C. Brown is another Monarch book. It's in that Monarch Human Behavior series, single girls and their situations. Naked When We Die by Tom Martin, paperback original Monarch book, number 341. I don't know who did the cover art on this, but it's pretty nice. Crime noir book. We have a couple of British. Agatha Christie, Dead Man's Folly, that's Fontana book. from England. And Peter Chaney, Dark Bahama, another Fontana book. Nice art on these British books. Teenage Bride by Henry Galas. A compassionate study of young people trapped in premature marriage. It's another Monarch book. Behold This Woman by David Goodis, Bantam 407. Great hard crime noir. A little bit of Western stuff now. The Dakota Deal by Riley Ryan is a Lion book, 187. All these books are from the basically from the 50s, or in some cases maybe the very early 1960s. My Name is Violence by by John D. Matthews, is told to Jeffrey Rausch. It's a Avon book. Treasury of Terror, Christopher Lee's Treasury of Terror. It's a pyramid book. Nice artwork cover there by Mort Drucker. And this is actually a comic book in paperback format. It has various black and white stories. Some sleaze books now. Beacon book, Girls in a Cage by Carlton Gibbs. Nice, good girl cover. An even better one is Richard Foster's The Girl from Easy Street, a Popular Library Eagle book, EB 32. Popular Library had a lot of different series. Eagle book was a separate series of them. Another great one, Jazz Bum by William Gwynn, Lion book number 225. A story of a jazz musician. It's a crime noir, sleaze masterpiece. Shoe the Wild Mayor, Reader's Choice Library number 7 by Gene Fowler. Very nice copy, except for the A on the woman's face. It seems like a lot of times whenever booksellers or dealers or news agents would get books, they always put their mark on an area where it would be seen, as always on the girl's forehead or on her shoulder or something. Wish they didn't do that, but that's what they did. Reader's Choice Library number 3 is Gina by George Albert Glay. Another kind of a noir. I have a lot of these to go through. Classic Frederick Brown book, Madball. It's a gold medal, 1132. This is a second printing, same cover as the first printing by Mitchell Hooks. The earlier edition of this was a Dell first edition. I have an Ace Double, 2 books in one. Okay, you have Outlaws River by Bliss Lomax. This is, and on the other side is Showdown at Yellow Butte by Jim Mayo. Jim Mayo is Louis L'Amour. This is an early Ace D36, both 2 Westerns. British Gangster Crime Digest, Ladies Sleep Alone by Lou Della. Great good girl art. Very collectible and very good author. Charles Williams, this is Big City Girl, and it's a gold medal book, 163. I believe the cover art is by Barry Phillips. This is British. Here's a kind of a dime novel, early pre-vintage paperback by the Garden City Book Company. They put out hardcovers and paperbacks. This is Apache Valley by Arthur Chapman. This series, it's in digest size. It's really cool, and they all have the red sun as a kind of a logo. Many of these stories came from Short Stories magazine, the Pulp magazine short stories. Henry Ellsworth, Wild Weekend by, it's a Monarch book, number 371. The Education of a French Model, Kiki's Memoirs, introduced by Ernest Hemingway. This is the Belmont book. Great Good Girl art cover. The Cheat by Don Tracy, Lion Library, number 118. It reprints the Lion book that came out earlier. This is Crisscross, that was made into a classic noir movie, and it's a really hell of a good read. Now I'm going to move some of these out of the way here so that we can start another stack. Hope you're not getting bored by looking at these. I love looking at them. Ted Mark, who was Ted Gottfried, wrote a series of spy crime, sexy good girl art paperbacks, a lot of them for Lancer. The Nude Who Never, that's number 3 in the series. Another Ted Mark. Ted Mark Laugh Wrong, Pussycat, that's number 6 in the series. This is the 4th printing. This is the 2nd printing. Lion 231, House of Evil by Claire and Michael Lippman. This is a classic hard noir masterpiece. I believe it's the only book that these two wrote, and it's really incredible. Here's a cool book, Kiss Me You Fool. A lip-smacking 4-stage report on the loving art of kissmanship, and it's Popular Library book PC 10003. And the thing about this is it's got a little piece of plastic here that's, if you look, you can see the lips moving. So that's kind of cool. Cool little book. Something that's not so cool is Jack Savage's Torture Love Cage novel book 3502. It's a paperback original. It's got the torture scene, hypodermic needle. The Asian who's doing the torturing is a stand-in for Mao Zedong. So this is during the height of the Red Chinese and the communist scare. And it's written by science fiction and horror author Ray Russell. So it's quite a good book that's a lot of people interested in. Mystery Book Magazine, January 1946, was a digest that had a lot of interesting stories by interesting writers. Davis Dresser was, I believe, Brett Halliday. There's other writers in the series that are really good. Fantastic Universe Science Fiction, December 1956. Robert F. Young, Evelyn E. Smith, Kenneth Bulmer, William Campbell Galt, who was a crime writer, but he also wrote some science fiction at this time. And, of course, Gods of the North by Robert E. Howard. The cover art is by Hannes Bach. And let's see, here's the stories. Nice digest magazine, nice series. Hannes Bach is given cover credit, and they tell you who's in it besides Robert E. Howard. Avon published a lot of digests. This is the Avon Western Reader #4. And it's got Frank Gruber, W.C. Tuttle, and others. These are kind of scarce. Avon digests are scarce and collectible. Avon did a lot of kind of sexy, risque, sleazy digests. Avon Bedside Novel #6 was The Passionate Princess by Jack Woodford. Beautiful, stunning, good girl art. Really cool cover. Archer Books, #51. This is from the Cleveland, Ohio company. They reprinted the British series. And Night Haunts of Paris by Roland Vane. It looks like a crime novel. It's kind of a sleazy noir digest type book. Very cool series. Dr. Death is this is a book of Pulp reprints, horror stories from the Pulp magazines, and there's I believe 2 in this series of Dr. Death. Again with the Cleveland Archer Books, #69. This time with a Heed cover. Ladies of the Red Lamp by Roland Vane is Heed's signature. The typical Heed women having fun, doing a little dancing, showing a little leg. These are really collectible. A lot of these aren't that scarce. They're around, but you're still going to pay a bit for them, especially in really, really nice condition. Another British book, Arrow, #282, Dennis Wheatley. The Forbidden Territory. Dennis Wheatley was a very popular author in England who wrote a lot of spy and crime, war books, and then also a lot of supernatural and horror. City of Blood by Dane Hartman is Dirty Harry #6. Picked up a few of these. They're pretty cool. Dirty Harry #6. Family Skeletons, Dirty Harry #5, and of course Clint Eastwood is shown on the covers of all the Dirty Harry books because he played Dirty Harry. The Powder Burner is Reader's Choice Library #4, Frank C. Robertson. Pretty scarce Western. Sherry is by Max Collier, Beacon Book, #708X. Nice Passionate Embrace cover. Apache Greed, Lion Book #195 by William Hobson, is a story of a white woman and an Indian brave, and it's tough to find. Some of these Lion Westerns seem to be very, very tough to find. We have a couple of the Coxman books. That was a series by Troy Conway, who was actually Mike Avalone. He wrote these are paperback originals. It's sexy, spy, crime, good girl art, risque. The titles are pretty cool. They're the stories of Rod Damon, the Coxman, who protects our world from sexy women. You have one's the Sex Machine, Coxman #18, and then this one, Coxman #23, the Master Bader, which I think this might be a play on words. And what the heck, there's another Coxman here, Coxman #5. a little play on words of the Beatles. It's getting harder all the time. So that's kind of cool. What else we have in the goodie box over here? A few more. Ted Mark, Beacon Book number X 1510. Back Home at the Orgy. It's the Man from Orgy. The Man from Orgy returns in The Girl from Pussycat, in a Lancer book. And we have one more, Coxman number 6, again by Troy Conway, who was Mike Avalone. Come One, Come All. We have nice novel library, number 511 by B.J. Gillian Jr. Sex in the Office, Sex at Work, in the Workplace, Office Playgirl. An interesting topic today of what's going on. They were dealing with this back in the 50s, but not exactly the way they should have. We have Strange Bondage by Donald Stewart, a noir romance crime novel, good girl art, Dell D358, with cover art by Robert Maguire, the great Robert Maguire. Man from Orgy again by Ted Mark, Lancer Book 73563. Room at the Topless. It's room 7. It's room 007. Is it room 007? No, it's room 700. Looks like 007 upside down. What are you going to do? Gil Brewer is a perennial hard-boiled crime writer. And this book, Crest, book number 418, Little Tramp, is one of the wild novels about sleaze, good girl art, jailbait. Another good one, good girl art, is a Midwood F350, The Spice of Life by Grant Corrigan. I'm not sure who did the cover art on that. Kirk Wesley is returns with Shantyboat Girl, Berkeley G260. Great cover art. She used her body as bait. Agatha Christie is shown in a Lion book, in an Avon book, number 316, Murder in 3 Acts. Beautiful copy, beautiful book. Murder Challenges Valcor by Rufus King, an early Dell map back, number 39. And there's a map on the back. Dell map back is a nice one. The Darkness of Love by Harry Olive, Monarch 131 with the Harry Share cover. Nice, sexy, good girl art cover. There's a Juvenile Delinquent paperback, Avon T230 by Joseph Hilton. Crybaby Killer, based on the film. Ed McBain, Lady Killer. Pocket, Perma, number M3119. Lady Killer, Ed McBain, who was Evan Hunter, and who I did a episode on in an earlier YouTube video. Another cool one is Dream Street, Avon 303 by Robert Sylvester. A story of Broadway and noir romance, what goes on. Just a few more. Take All You Can Get by Steve Fisher. Popular Library 781. Crime Noir Master. Great cover art. And Bart House number 27 Designed for Dying by Louis Trimble. Louis Trimble was a guy who wrote in the early 50s and throughout the 50s great hard-boiled crime novels. You got to read him. He's really good. And then he wrote in the 60s, he went to writing all Western novels. And I assume they're pretty good because he had a really hard-boiled, noir, tough style of writing. And they would probably be also good. But I've read a bunch of his 50s crime books, and they're really excellent. Avon 442, just a sexy, beautiful cover. Jerome Wildman, Sleeping Beauty. And we're almost done. Another Fontana book, Agatha Christie, Crooked House. And The Queen of Sheba by Victor Sardoux, which is a Chariot book, number 112. It's a sleaze history book, Queen of Sheba and her romps and the times during the ancient world. Another Barthouse book, number 20, Kathleen Norris, Motionless Shadows. Really nice kind of noir setting there. And the last one we're going to look at is Sin Trail, a book by, it's kind of hard to read, Graham Arnold. And this is interesting because it's a Civil War sleaze novel. So it takes place during the Civil War, it's a Western, and it's a Merit book, number 354. Well, there you have the book haul from the Bordentown Pulp Adventurecon show of some of the books that I bought. And I think I did pretty good. You know, if you go to the show, this could be you next time, you know, next show, finding some nice finds like this. These are books that I'm going to add to my collection, some of them I'm going to upgrade, copies that I have, and some will be sold probably on eBay at some point. But in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy them, and some of them I'm going to read and look at, and enjoy, and have fun with. And just wanted to share this with you and see what what you can find at these shows. Sometimes you never know. Again, I want to thank you for looking, and give us a thumbs up if you liked the video, and subscribe and tell your friends about this channel. Tell your book collector friends, reader friends, and any questions that you have, send us a notice. So until next time, Scaro Lovisi, I want to thank you for looking.